Greetings everyone, I am glad to have your attention. My name is RedMaize and today we'll be doing another breakdown for the final 4 characters that were introduced over the past 3 weeks or so. They are Botan, Suisei, Aki, and a very unexpected surprise, Coco. If you happen to not see my previous breakdown on Korone, Fubuki, Ayame, and Sorta, the link to that video is in the description. Anyways, we have quite a lot to talk about here, but I'll try my best to keep it as condensed as possible. Let's get started. Before we begin, I would like to quickly note that this breakdown will still be as thorough as possible, but fingers crossed, not as long as the previous breakdown. I am not going to speculate on the specifics of the inputs, but I will still mention them in some regards. I am still sticking with my prediction on the game being a 4-button fighter, and I may pull some points from the extra demonstrations on the dev's official Twitter page. But for the most part, I will stick to what is present in each debut trailer. Once again, if there are any terms that it may sound unfamiliar to you, please do check out the Fighting Game Glossary by Anvil. It's your best buddy for our funny terms in the FG space. Finally, I'll mention again that this is simply my predictions and speculations for this game. I do not know all things FG related and I only have a few years of fighting game experience to go off from. If you believe that a move or combo is different from my prediction, then I'd love to hear it in the comments. Alright, let us begin. Starting off with our FPS lioness Botan, we are introduced to her with her riding a trolley into Korone. Great way to start her trailer. After the name and portrait drop, we see her continue her combo from the trolley for 5 hits before doing a pretty flashy combo ending with an EX move that wall bounces Korone. First off, the 2 hits from the trolley at the start of the trailer is probably just replayed again for the 5 hits we see shortly after. Additionally, the screen has been darkened slightly, which suggests that this trolley attack is another EX move. Now presumably if this whole combo sequence started off with a different button/move, say like 2 medium buttons into EX trolley, then combos in this game are likely to be long and extensive, which will be great for long-term players lapping out the most optimal combos. Moving on, we then see some shorter combos, but each has some notable points to talk about. First short combo is a mix of lights and mediums, ending with an EX that actually launches Korone off the ground, which may lead to a loop if done in the corner. The second combo is more or less the same, with 2 motion inputs, one being cancelled into the other. Now I didn't really touch on this a lot specifically in my previous breakdown, but I believe that this gold flash cancel was exclusive to Fubuki. But now we know that's not the case and that it's a mechanic that everyone has access to in their kits. The third combo starts off with a grounded normal grab, indicated by the blue swirl, which surprisingly launches Korone quite high into the air before leading into a command air grab, signaled by the yellow swirl, bringing both Korone and Botan back down to the ground. The combo continues with a hit from a riot shield and then a grenade toss, and ending by cancelling into Botan's super, which hits in the air, at which Botan jumps into a helicopter with her SSRBs and pulls out a minigun to gun down her opponent. A very cool looking super, only amplified by the superb pixel art for cinematic moments. Before we are even introduced to our shooting star and Diamond in the Rough, we are presented with a brand new stage. I won't go too much into detail about it, but one thing to note is that behind the 2 pairs of spotlights are displays for the 2 characters that are fighting on stage, as we can see with Sora's full body shot in the background during Suisei's combos, which is a nice detail to see. Speaking of Suisei's combos, her first combo is pretty straightforward, with 2 hit grabs being used in the same string. Now interestingly, we may be seeing a more advanced motion input in this combo, that being a Tiger Knee, or TK for short. Notice that for the first hit grab after Suisei does a launcher, she is immediately airborne, allowing the use of air motion inputs. This is what TKs are used for, essentially creating a shortcut to these moves in the fastest and easiest way possible. With her next combo, she swings her golden axe before cancelling into a slow moving projectile that persists on screen. Suisei then jumps forward and hits Sora with a presumed jumping heavy attack. Not only is the star projectile a combo extender, it could possibly be used as a pressure tool with however many hits it does, if Sora were to be blocking it. Speaking of which, we actually see our first blocked attack up to this point, with Suisei doing an overhead looking kick and Sora probably blocking it standing. Suisei then simply goes for a normal grab, encasing Sora in a Tetris block, I literally only just got that reference as I'm writing the script, and slamming her into the ground. For the final combo, I'm actually entirely unsure about this whole sequence. We see Suisei's eye/face portrait appear, indicating an activation for something, but it's not a super. At least not immediately, which we will see shortly after. The combo plays out more or less like the first combo, but instead we now see Miko thrown into the mix and getting hit as well by Suisei's moves, possibly acting as an extra hit when Sora collides with her. Suisei cancels her launcher into her command grab super, which plays out this incredible animation of a comet striking Sora in the background, while Suisei looks away as it explodes. And fantastic way to reference her song Ghost. Now I did notice that there is a wisp looking thing surrounding Suisei during this combo. Could the portrait activation at the start of the combo be an indication that Suisei's super is a 2-step super, where your first activation readies it, and your second activation actually uses it, similar to how Axel activates his time stop super in Guilty Gear Strive? Guess we'll see soon enough. We have yet another new stage to play in as we move on to Aki. She initially appears as a background character before she teleports onto the playing field. Now if we look rather closely to this one moment, we can actually notice that Aki is actually teleporting backwards to get that teleport onto the stage video card, which may suggest that she can teleport quite freely. But let's move on to her first combo. Aki starts off with an EX move in which she summons Mookie Rose, who does a 2-hit attack, before she does another EX move that teleports her behind Suisei and slams her downwards. She then continues the combo with another hit from one of her twin tails, and ending with another Mookie Rose summon that wall bounces Suisei. An incredibly flashy combo right off the bat. We then are given a sneak peek at what I can presume is the loading screen before an actual player match, with Aki versus Fubuki, each on their own side, indicating player 1 and player 2, the chosen stage in the background on the screen, and something entirely new and unknown up to this point in trailers, assists. An assist is when a character outside of the battle is called in for a brief moment to perform their own specific attack, and we see a few examples from Roboco with her full screen beam attack, Mio with her upward angle dash punch, Miko, once again, with a persisting lava pillar, and Roboco again, but in a different outfit and an entirely different attack with a missile barrage. Now unlike most team-based FGs, where assists are also characters you could swap between during an actual fight, Idol Showdown seems to be going for a 1v1 assist-based approach, where you control only one character with a selected assist to help you, but not able to swap or tag into battle. It's a clever way of including other talents without having to make extensive kits for each one of them, which would take more than 2 years to create if every talent was both a character and an assist. Rotating back to Aki's combos, we then see her perform a no on Korode, followed almost immediately with a Mukuros wall bounce kick. And then Aki calls in Miko to drop her lava bucket, which slightly juggles Korode before Aki does one more hit, which definitely suggests some strong pressure and rewards. Next combo, she dashes forward and walks slightly and performs a normal grab, which leads into a long multi-hitting attack, all while the earlier called Roboco assist is firing missiles for more damage, and possibly holding the combo together by not allowing a gap in between Aki's hip sway attacks. Speaking of hips, we have a quick montage of some hip sways from different stages, 3 that we have seen and 1 being yet another new stage. Moving on, Aki anti-airs Botan with 2 hits before EX teleporting and gets 1 more hit in with the same starter. With the final combo on Fubuki, she performs 2 hits herself with what looks like to be a crouching medium and a standing heavy before Mukuro slams Fubuki, making her ground bounce up from the ground, allowing Aki to catch her again with another presumed standing heavy before cancelling into her super, where she gets to enjoy some beer while letting Mukuros finish the job with a winded up haymaker. It's pretty simple, but it shows off a lot of character, which is great to see being expressed in supers. On to the final stretch of trailers, and the biggest surprise appearance, we have Coco joining the fray. The year 2521 AD reference was a fantastic one, which I didn't catch on initially until I was reminded in the comments of the trailer that before Coco graduated, she said she'd come back in 500 years. Well, she said so herself, and now she's back in full force to throw some hands and some bodies. Starting off with her first combo, which is a mix of mids and a low before ending with a hit grab. Very straightforward. Interestingly, Korone was actually on fire at the start of this combo before it wore off, which might indicate a dot status effect for Coco. We then see 3 different attacks, the earlier hit grab, a fire breath ranged attack, and a jumping medium attack with an alarm clock, which Coco hits Korone with shortly after. Next we see Korone block Coco's incredibly far-reaching standing normal, just by the looks of it, before Coco dashes forward on a raptor and does a grounded back grab on Korone and side swaps with her. with an incredible meme review reference, before OTGing with some plug type Asakoko and throwing out a low attack on Korane's wake up from hard knockdown. It looks like a low since Koko is lying down, but Korane is blocking standing up, which means it's a mid. Yeah, confusing. We then see a quick montage of different effects or memes from Koko's back grab across the entire cast, from Suisei's made popular through Reiruka to Aki's
No pineapple, thank you. No, thank you.
Next, we see Koko's forward grab, in which she drags Botan high into the air before slamming her with her dragon form. Quite nice and simple. Afterwards, we see Koko do an EX grab, which combines mean review and her fire breath attack. Before we see Kanata, who I and many others presumed was going to be the 8th character, being coded as an assist, and grabbing Aki and holding her in place before inflicting one hit. Koko then stands up from crouching and dashes forward to OTG. For the finale, Koko does her command grab super, in which she transforms into her full dragon form and blasts Suisei with a beam, all while still trapped in Koko's dragon hand. Simple, straightforward, still very much exceptional. Now let's do a quick lightning round for archetypes, as I haven't gotten the chance to mention it, so let's do that quickly. Also sort of guessing by what I've seen on Twitter and their descriptions on their demos. Karan and Fubuki are all-rounders, meaning their kits can do basically everything but not excel in any specific playstyle. Fubuki could also be a gimmick character since she has a gacha mechanic tied to her kit, but we don't know how that plays out in detail. Ayame is a rushdown character, meaning she has strong pressure up close and can maintain it for long block strings, but generally cannot play at range. Sora is a setup character where she tries to force her opponent into a mix-up, generally after a hard knockdown through her projectiles and moves. Botan is a zoner, cause guns and grenades. Her kit allows her to keep the opponent out as much as possible through her projectiles and long-reaching attacks. Suisei is something, not sure actually. She has hit grabs that are either combo extenders or enders, but she also has a slow persistent projectile. Either way, unsure right now. Aki is probably a puppet character. A lot of what was present in her trailer screams negative edge to me, and plenty of instances where it looks like Aki could still move independently from Muki Rose, which puppet characters tend to rely on, meaning her mix comes from both the threat of Muki Rose and whatever Aki does before or after, whether it is a low or high or a grab. Either way, possibly the most complicated character in the game. Koko is a grappler. Her entire trailer was mostly grabs, and her kit allows her to keep the opponent grounded and scared to move or jump, which is where grapplers can enforce their game plan: high damage, unblockable, untuckable grabs. Alrighty then, that's the last 4 talents and their breakdowns. Truly a shorter breakdown, am I right? Jokes aside, I hope you enjoyed my predictions and speculations about Idol Showdown, because this was pretty fun to break down and take guesses at how the game and talents will play out to be. Ultimately, it's just a speculation after all, but we'll find out soon enough in the next few days. May 5th, people, can't wait. Oh, and real quick, because this came out like a day or so ago, but there's a cool new trailer for some single player content for the game featuring Azuki. There still could be a possibility that she may be a playable character, considering she has a full drawn portrait like the other talents, but I won't hold my breath for that. Anyways, with that said, my name is RedMaize and I am glad I got your attention. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good day or night depending on where you are, and I hope you will take care.